Hello, boys and girls. I wanted to do a video of this because there's so many different strategies you could use when you're trying to find a percent of a quantity. And I want you to give me a chance to show you all the models, even if you know some of the strategies, okay? So I'm going to do 3 examples, and then you guys can go off and do whatever strategy you wish. So 5 of the 25 girls on Alden Middle School soccer team are 7th grade students. Find the percentage of 7th graders on the team. Show 2 different ways of solving for the answer. One of the methods must include a diagram or a picture model. Okay, so we know that 5 of the 25 girls are 7th grade students, and we must find the percentage of the 7th grade student. So my first question would be, what fraction of the students are 7th grade? Five out of 25. We could write that in fraction form. Since all we're trying to do is make it into a percentage, one way you could do this is by finding the equivalent ratio, by thinking about what a percent is always out of. Well, the whole in a percent is always out of 100%. So what do you multiply 25 by to get 100? 4. Therefore, you're going to do 5 times 4 to get 20. There's your fraction, 20 out of 100. Therefore, your percentage could be 20%. So that's one model that you could use, okay? And I think that's what a lot of you had done mentally in your head. The other way we could do it is by using a tape diagram. Okay, and when we do the tape diagram, we always have a percentage on one side, 0%, all the way up to 100%. Now you have to decide, what are you going to divide this into? So what is your whole in this case? Your whole, you should recognize, is 25, because that's just total number of soccer players, okay? So 25 is your whole. Therefore, 100% would be 25. 0% would be 0. Now you got to think about, okay, what should I divide this into between 0 and 25? I really don't want to count by 1, because that would be a lot of parts. So why not count by 5? Okay, now I can label 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Down here is between 0 and 100%. I divide it into 5 parts. So what percentage should I count up by? So one way you could do is take 100, divide it by 5, because there's 5 parts, which equals 20. Now I know I'm going to count by 20% on the percentage. To answer my question, the question was asking, find the percentage of 7th graders on the team. So when there's 5 7th graders, here it is, there are 20%. Okay, so that's another way to get 20% as your solution. You could also do a double number line, and the double number line is just similar to what you did up here. Okay, so there's the 2 models that you could use for that one. That one I'm looking for the percent of a whole. Down here, of the 25 girls on the Alden Middle School soccer team, 40% also play on a travel team. How many girls are on the middle school team also play on the travel team? So how could I answer this question? If I use the same approach that I used in the first example, where I found the equivalent ratios, we're going to do the same thing here, okay? Except this time we know my percentage. So your percentage is always out of what? 100. So we can write 40 out of 100. Okay? We know your whole is 25 girls. So that's your whole. So the idea is you take your part over your whole, which equals your percent, over 100. Okay? Now, this is my percent over 100. My part in my whole, I don't know what my part is. We're looking for how many girls also played travel. That's my question mark. But we know there's a total of 25. So again, what do you multiply 25 by to get 100? Times 4. What times 4 is 40? 10. I'm not going to redraw the model for the tape diagram because you can use the same model we used up here. So the question is 40%. So find 40% on your tape diagram. There it is. 40% would be 10 soccer players are on the travel team. Okay, now the next example. Example 3. Example 3 is on the back here. The question is now asking, the Alden Middle School soccer team won 80% of its game. If the team won 12 games, how many games did it play? So this time it's asking for the whole. We don't know how many games were played, so we're looking for the whole. So if I use this approach, part over whole equals your percent over 100. Okay, your percent is given. So automatically, if you see a percent symbol, where do you put it over? 100. So we're going to use this model here, 80 over 100. 1/12 game, is that your part or your whole? That is your part. So you want to put that in the numerator of your fraction, 12 game. We don't know how many games were played. Okay, so now a lot of you might think, uh-oh, 12 doesn't go into 80, does it? But I know I can simplify 80/100. 80/100 is 4/5. Can you get 4 into 12 now? You most certainly can. So 4 times what is 12? 3. That means you're going to multiply 5 by 3, which is 15. So 15 games were played. Now that is actually, I think this model is harder in this case because of this situation here. A lot of you wouldn't have recognized that you could have simplified this. So that's why it's always nice to have a fallback strategy. Set up a tape diagram like I did. Always start with 0%, 100%. Now I know that 80% of the games were won. So think about what you could count by so that 80% is on there. Hopefully you would recognize you'd want to count by 20%. So 20, 40, 60, 80. Okay? Now go to the information that you have. We don't know the whole in this case. That's the question. How many total games were there? We don't know that. But what do we know? We know that 80% of the games were played this season. When 80% were played, how many games did they win? 12. So we're actually going to put 12 in my tape diagram at 80%. Now, how could you figure out what each of these are? Well, I know there's 4 parts that gets to 12. So what's 12 divided by 4? 3. So that means 0% is 0. We're going to count by 3. 3, 6, 9, 12. What's going to end up here if I count by 3? 15. Okay, thanks for your patience in watching the video. Now you can go ahead and try the rest of the packet.